All right, Shalom. First and foremost, before I begin, I'd like to give our praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rakah Kwadash. Double honors to the elders and head apostles of Great Millstone who rule well and teach well. Shalom to the hopefully elect out there that scatter abroad in the four corners of the earth. This is your brother Michael coming with you another lesson. And as always, Lord willing, it'll be edifying, straight to the point. And yeah, once again, you can see prophecy speaking. Okay. Right here in this article, it says 6.2 earthquake, Indonesia region. Earthquake uptick in California today, Sunday update. Okay, and pretty much, you know what I'm saying, these earthquakes is sticking out in the earth like a sore thumb. Okay, these things is popping off, man, constantly, which proves to you, man, hey, this is a major sign for Yahweh Shai return, man. Okay, Yahweh Shai is for to come upon the premises very soon. Okay, now let's read on right here. Recent days have seen an increase in reported earthquakes, including in Indonesia, the Pacific region, and California. Experts note more frequent tectonic activity and some related space weather events. They recommend that residents in earthquake-prone areas remain alert. Scientists continue to study the causes of recent seismic activity and will provide updates as more information becomes available. Okay, so you know the earthquakes, you know what I'm saying, is one major prophecy that got to happen. Okay, before the end comes. Now, before we go into the scriptures, I just want to play this video. Okay.
Hey, how's it going out there, folks? Welcome back here to a Sunday afternoon. A little late here on the update today. I apologize about that. Been kind of busy here on this end. It is 1:04 p.m. California time, October 26, 2025. Latest activity here shows a 3.8, somewhere out there in the red flag. Also 3.5 down here across the area south of Puerto Rico along the plate boundary, it looks like. 3.8 over here across the northern end of the Java Trench. Of course, yesterday we're kind of looking at this specific area. I pinpointed exactly this area for some larger movement in yesterday's update. We did get some larger activity there this morning, a 6.2, but nothing, of any major significance. This area, of course, can produce some big earthquake activity. But a 6.2, that's fairly large, but just remember, it can't produce much bigger quake activity in the area. We've just been watching a swarm of activity out here across the crunch zone, but mainly across the Java Trench here into the Indonesia area over the last couple of days. Been pretty active. So we are looking at possible increasing magnitudes out here just because of the elevated activity we're seeing today and over the last couple of days. Some decent uptick there across the Philippines as well, with a number of aftershocks along the Philippine Trench. 5.0 from yesterday, a couple fours out there so far today, and a number of other earthquakes underneath that threshold that the USGS uses here. They normally only show 4.5. Sometimes they'll throw in a 4.4 four-pointer, but there's still a lot of activity stirring up there around the Philippines, and a lot of aftershock activity here in the Indonesia area where that 6.2 struck just earlier this morning. Still a lot of newer activity in this area, so keep a watchful eye out for some larger movement. It does look like maybe we'll see something in this region soon. There's that 6-pointer from yesterday. That was somewhat deep, about 33 miles deep there around the Solomon Islands region, but super active out there today across the area of the Indonesia region. Up north, Japan, looks like a couple fours here in the last 24 hours. Nothing big. Still watching the Nankai Trough here. Up along the Curl Cam chat, got some fours stirring up. New Zealand down here got 4.2 North Island, it looks like. The USGS is reporting that 4.2, 21 miles deep here. Just looks like it's on the eastern coast here of North Island. About 5 o'clock in the a.m. That's going to be my time here, though. They're already in the future. Let's go ahead and take a look here at the West Coast activity, see what we got going on. Not a whole lot here for the Pacific Northwest. That's because it is the weekend out here, and for whatever reason, a lot of the smaller quake activity goes unreported. So in that case here, I'm going to talk about this a little bit later in tonight's update. There's an interesting informational diagram here of how to read the focal mechanisms there when you're looking at the type of fault it occurred on, and whether it's a strike slip, a dipping, oblique, stuff like that. We'll cover that a little bit later because I had a couple folks there commenting, asking if I could shoot a little bit more information on that. But we'll do that later tonight. By the way, Cascadia tremor activity only 12, southern coast there of Oregon, underneath that area. I want to check out the Mount Rainier station up here real quick, see if there's anything of any earthquake activity going on up there today. And then we'll get into California activity where there was some movement on the Hayward Fault. A couple earthquakes there, Mount St. Helens, or Mount Rainier, excuse me. As you can see, pretty well defined. Nothing big going on, but there's still earthquake activity occurring there. We'll go check out Mount Rainier here real quick, see what we have going on today up at the summit, or the dome station up here. Some very small microquake activity here, hidden in the background of the seismograph noise or static, so to speak. Nothing big, just some periodic earthquake activity there. Nothing, like I say, nothing in the elevated side. 2.1 down here across the southern end of the Cascadia subduction zone. This is about 10 miles underneath the area, so it's not associated with this fault system here, more so into the subduction zone. There's activity off of the Hayward Fault. It looks like a little swarm of activity stirring up here about 7 o'clock this morning. Started off in the 4 o'clock hour with a 1.5, it looks like, and then we had a 3.2 and a couple other earthquakes in there. For now, it has come to a halt there about 7:42 in the morning. Nothing new following that activity, but keep an eye on it. It does look like some movement working its way down south here off of the San Andreas Fault near the west side here of the San Joaquin Valley. Got a little swarm going on there as well. 2-pointer and a 2.7. A couple other twos in there. Keep an eye here on the Parkfield segment of the San Andreas Fault. We've been getting a lot of activity off of it. This area of the San Andreas Fault is capable of at least producing a 6.0, and it's got these regular intervals here where we see them every 20 to 22 years on average. And our last one there was back in 2004. So a lot of activity occurring off of that plate boundary, indicating there that things are pretty well locked around that region of the plate boundaries. Parkfield section of the San Andreas Fault. Keep an eye on that. Further south, not a whole lot going on there across extreme Southern California today. One earthquake along the Garlock Fault shear zone from, that was this morning here, 11:15, 2.9. So as you can see, elevated activity out here across the west coast, at least California anyway. Nothing big happening for now, but when things are on the move, it's highly likely, or at least the possibilities go up, of seeing a larger event out there. Oil field's pretty quiet, only a couple earthquakes being listed up on the map today. Not a whole lot going on there across the eastern portion of the country. Take a look here at the earthquake 3D globe. Once again, Alaska pretty quiet up north. Typical movement here across the Middle America Trench and the South America area. We had a number of earthquakes out here in these fracture boundaries yesterday. There's one of the older ones. Things have picked up a little bit there along the Pruchilli Trench, some 4s and 5s. Well, maybe not a 5. There's some 4s here, but that 5-pointer offshore. So things are increasing in this area due to the subduction zone here, the Pruchilli Trench. Just keep a watchful eye on that. But so far, I mean, look at the cluster going on out here still out across the Indonesia area, working its way up into the Burma region. Highly active out here in the last couple days. It's sticking out here like a sore thumb, so to speak. It's always active in this region. I call it the crunch zone, but this is way above the normal daily activity that we see out here in this region. So just keep an eye on it. We've had a number of deeper quakes in the region, and that's why we're seeing that shallow adjustment take place out here. There's always a possibility we could still see some larger movement here along the Java Trench or anywhere out here in this region. 3.9 coming into the area right now where that 6-pointer struck this morning. So a little aftershock activity or just continued seismic activity. All right, let's see what else we got. The Mediterranean region, some 2s and 3s out there. Nothing big going on. The Atlantic Ocean, pretty quiet. Now let's take a look here at the space weather activity. We do have a
Yeah, so pretty much all those areas and regions that he named, you know what I'm saying, has been being hit with the earthquakes back to back. Okay? And it proves to you, man, hey, it's the Lord beginning to visit the world which he made. All right, that's why all these things is occurring in the world now on a heavier scale. All right, so now let's grab a couple of precepts. First, let me get Isaiah chapter 29 in verse 6. It says, "Thou shalt be visited of the Lord Yahweh by Hashem Yahshua of hosts with thunder and with earthquake and great noise, with storm and tempest and the flame of devouring fire." And that's why you seeing the earthquakes going popping off on the earth like they doing. Okay. That's why you see them sticking out like a sore thorn, because it's the Lord visiting the world which he made. Okay. And this should catch your people attention out there in the world. See? And also as well, you know, you got these storms that's been taking place. Okay. New created hurricanes. All right. Floods, tornadoes. It always goes back to the Lord visiting the world. Okay, the Lord, he's the one making these things happen in the world. Okay, so let's get another scripture here in the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 9 and verse 1. Starting at verse 1. It says, "He answered me then and said, Measure thou the time diligently in itself. And when thou seest part of the signs past, which I have Salaki, hold on. Let me start back from the beginning. I had got interrupted. This is 2nd Ezra, chapter 9, verse 1. He answered me then and said, Measure thou the time diligently in itself. And when thou seest part of the signs past, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. Okay, and we understanding that the Lord is beginning to visit the world, okay, by the prophetic events that's taking place here in planet Earth. What's right here in verse 3 proves that the Lord is visiting the world. It says, "Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world." See, and this process is taking place now. More so, these earthquakes, you know what I'm saying, is taking place heavily in the world. And also you begin to see the uproars of the people come. Okay, that process is slowly processing, but pretty soon it's gonna increase. All right, and then let's read on, verse 4. Then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning. For like as all that is made in the world hath a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest. And yeah, the end is being manifest. You know what I'm saying? The Lord is pretty much showing the signs, letting the signs be revealed in the world that the end is coming. The end is near. Okay? Because that's how you can tell what times and seasons that you are living in by the signs. Okay? And we know we are at the end, because the end time signs is being shown. What's right here in verse 6 it say, "Even so the times also of the highest have plain beginnings and wonder and powerful works and endings in effects and signs." See? So you seeing the signs, letting you know that the end is coming. Okay, the end of Esau's rulership is at hand. Okay, and also the day of Yahweh's return is near. All right, so let's go here. Get the last precept here in the book of Matthew, chapter 24, starting at verse 3. And it says, and as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, tell us, when shall these things be? And what shall be the sign of thy coming and of the end of the world? And pretty much what took place here was a secret council between Yahushua and his disciples. Was this word privately should stand out to you, because it wasn't meant for everybody to know, to receive the parables of Yahushua. It wasn't meant for everybody to receive the mysteries of the kingdom. You know, it wasn't meant for everybody to receive the proper knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of the Holy Scriptures. It's only given to a small remnant. Okay, you know who the Lord choose to have it. So now let's get to the point here in verse 7. It says, for nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. And you seeing, you know what I'm saying, the earthquakes happening, man, okay, in diverse places in the world. As we just read, as we just watched a partial of that video, okay, the man was pretty much showing what states in the U.S. and what regions around the world was having massive earthquakes, okay, was showing you, man, hey, we're at the end of this time. Okay, and as well, you know, is a lot of new created diseases out there in the world. Okay, you got food shortages. Okay, you know, food recalls. Okay, which proves you, man, a scripture, biblical prophecy is speaking louder and louder day by day. Okay, which letting you know, hey, man, Yahweh Shai is on his way back, man. Okay, the end is near. All right, get ready. So that being said, Lord willing, this lesson was edifying, straight to the point. Till next time, I say shalom.